Welcome to the Abnormal, Strange, and Weird podcast, a show dedicated to all such things and everything in between. Now sit back and relax and join us as we talk about weird shit.
Well, hello there. I got to come up with a new thing. I always say, well, hello there. How's it going today? I'm going too. My name's Patrick Dyer. That's Amanda Geezy. This is the Abnormal, Strange, and Weird podcast. This is our 6th episode. I don't know. We were talking about some weird ancient stuff, and we got to talking about a civilization called the Dropa, and they have a interesting little tidbit with their Dropa Stones that have been, causing mystery throughout the ages. And we also, I was reading about a fellow named Oannes that we thought would be quite interesting to talk about. If we get to both, we'll see. Sometimes we skip topics, so I don't know. I don't care.
There's just the one Oannes? I thought it was a whole people.
No, it's a singular individual. Yeah, which makes it even more interesting. Yeah.
Because I saw, do you remember I had showed you a picture of a carving in stone? It was like a side view of a guy holding like a little medicine bag. And he had the beard, the curls, and like the cone-shaped hat. Yeah. That's the same guy, right?
Well, from the Sumerian carvings?
Yeah.
Ooh, take that. Yeah, no, it's, he was, from the accounts of the past, which in particular made it more interesting, was this guy, Berosus. He was in Babylonia, which was the same as the Sumerians and, related to the Anunnaki and all that stuff. This guy had written accounts of this individual called Oannes that had the head of a man, but the form of a fish, and he could walk like a man as well. And
with his little flipper.
Yeah, I don't know if he just imagine? He might have just had some Nikes. I don't know.
Maybe he's like a walrus. Some flipper Nikes.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Super gross.
Just like those ridiculous Kanye shoes, right? Same thing.
The $1,000. What are they called? Oh, dang it!
Horrible. That's what they're called. Yeah, they're called
Crocs.
horrible. I bet you they're more than 1,000. I bet you they're way more. Maybe initially, but on the shoe market, I bet you they're disgustingly expensive.
I wonder what people will be saying in 10 years.
That they're badass. But so this individual, Oannes, he would go, during the day, he would come onto land and just give wisdom to people.
Assists.
And he taught, how to build temples. He taught geometry. He taught laws, just how to form a civilization. And at night, he would go back into the Persian Gulf and sleep underwater or whatever, or, maybe there's a whole nother civilization down there. Mm-hmm. But it's written accounts of this, so that kind of made it interesting to me. So it could have just been some weird fuck. We all know a beach bum or two. That's just hey, man, I fucking live on the beach. Just don't bother me at night, man. I
have a friend with webbed toes, too.
Really?
Yeah.
You should.
He spends most of his time in the water. Eddie, he chimed in on Sofabab before, but
oh sure.
I always he got caught up in Katrina. I was like, that was your Lieutenant Dan moment,
No shit.
He's super and I feel like there's a lot of people out there who seem more from the water than they would from the mountains.
Sure.
Beach bums as opposed to mountain men.
Yeah, totally.
But not even that. There's, I don't know. I think there's a lot to our origins. Because I just read looking into the Dropa about the Chinese being the first people on the planet. Sure. When I had always believed that the first people to be from Africa.
Sure. Well, and they, I mean, they both have such long lineage and history.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of people, or people who don't know who the Dropa are, it's like a civilization that live in the mountains, right? Of China.
And the ice,
Yeah.
yeah,
And they're unusually small, aren't they?
with yellow skin.
And
the first emperor in China was called the Yellow King.
Hmm.
And he had the same skin.
Try saying that on social media these days. He was a real yellow king. Yeah.
Yellow
sorry.
emperor, I meant. Did I say king? I meant yellow emperor.
Well, you know what I meant.
Whoa, that is a racist term
Isn't
right
it?
now.
I know, it's not
that
good.
didn't even strike me because I was thinking about how they were like yellow skinned.
Yeah.
Not that Asians are, but remarkably so.
No, yeah.
You know,
like unusually.
Like jaundiced.
Yeah. Well, and still to this day, the Chinese government doesn't like talking about them, right?
Hard. Nobody's ever seen these discs or photographed them.
Or the people I'm talking about even. We haven't even gotten to the discs yet. Yeah, they don't even really talk about the people, or they're like, yeah, let's not talk about that.
There were large burials of them, and they were about 4 foot tall with unusually large heads.
Yeah. I saw one picture along the way, and I couldn't find a good one to put on here of them. But
That's the only picture I saw too.
So the Dropa, they, as the small amount of people who have studied them, they supposedly found these stones, right, called the Dropa Stones. Or Dropa discs, right? Or I've heard it both ways, stones or discs. Yeah. And no one knew what the heck they stood for or what they meant or what they were used for. But the guy we were talking about before the show, that we were trying to pronounce his name properly, what was it? Sum Nui, right?
Nui. Yes.
He was one of the first to really study it, and you were saying that he discovered something interesting, right?
Yes, microscopic hieroglyphs and grooves. Yeah, and he also discovered that it had been like the evidence of either it being tooled with an electric charge or it conducted electricity in its usefulness.
Interesting. Didn't he decipher the hieroglyphs or try to translate them? Yeah,
and they were doomed. They crashed. The Dropa came down. They I think near the ancient burial site or whatever, the mass burial site, I mean, because I think something happened in the 40s where it was discovered.
Yeah
or there was I don't know, an event, but they had the art on the walls depicting like the sun and the moon, but then these dotted lines coming in and like falling somewhere in the land.
Sure.
So it was showing that these, what was it? They came from the stars. They came down from the stars clearly. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but the message they left was about regret, and leaving. They wanted to leave a message so that they knew that future generations would know that they came from the stars.
Oh, wow. I didn't read that part. That's pretty, yeah. One, what I did read is they think it was that same 12,000 years ago time frame.
Yep.
So we keep ending up in this 12,000 year range with all these ancient civilizations. So clearly there was some sort of event at that time period.
Mm-hmm.
And they all seem related in one way or another. But they also, like the Sumerians and the Dropa, they don't look anything like each other. So it makes you kind of wonder if there was some sort of pilgrimage from some other area or maybe a war and people just ended up here trying to gain asylum.
You mean in how the population spread out?
No, I mean, so look at the Sumerians. They look completely different than the Dropa. So it could be two different civilizations, maybe at war, because it's all around the same time period. So how did they all end up here? Because it's all almost the same kind of origin story, is that they all landed here within, the 12,000 year ago range. And the ancient Egyptians, they have stories from that time period.
Yes.
So
and the Mayans, they all disappeared in that time period. And they were talking about it being flood that forced them out or something. Or not that time period. It was.
The Mayan, I think that was later on, wasn't it?
For sure, way later. Or
there was another one in that same period, though. That's probably what you're thinking about.
Area, because like it was I think they were talking. Shoot, this is what happens.
Well, it's a lot of shit to take in.
Yeah,
it really is.
I've been studying a lot lately, a lot of stuff too. So
Yeah.
it's all jumbled up in there. But it's interesting, and I don't know if it was just like a related video that bled in some other kind of weird fact. But the Atlanteans.
No, same
what
time
if they
period,
like beamed their asses out of there? What?
Yeah.
I don't know. But the Atlantis sank like 13,000 years ago.
Yeah, so something I'm thinking.
Give or take 1,000 years.
Yeah, well, and it's hard to tell, with our science and stuff. And there's no real. They haven't been able to find much on Atlantis anyhow.
But consider what we would leave behind. I always bring that up. What would withstand the test of time other than like our airports? Yeah. Everything's digital. We don't have any, nothing of quality. Our couches fall apart in a couple of years.
No, it's true.
So they're going to think we were primitive, like in the Dark Ages, in 1,000 years.
Well, and we kind of are. If we move on with 1,000. Well, we've seen time and time again in history a lot of, backtracking. So hopefully we're in 1,000 years, advanced 1,000 years, and not 500 years in the past, with the Dark Ages to the Renaissance or whatever. Because it's happened so many fucking times in history, which is disgusting.
The loss of information.
Yeah. Or just, we hit a plateau for whatever reason, or,
get wiped out.
Or just get wiped out. Yeah. So I just keep thinking about that time period. So it makes me think, and ancient India too. There was a lot of those in that same time period where I was just reading, and, they think that there's proof of nuclear war in that time period in India.
Holy shit.
And we didn't have that technology, supposedly. So where did it come from? And, they found many craters that wouldn't have been caused by meteors or asteroids that have insane amounts of radiation that they've only been able to see what they've done in the testing in like New Mexico and such. But yeah, they don't want to talk about that. And then the people like what's his name? Have you heard of the Zachariah Sitchin? I always mess up his name.
Is it Sitchin?
I think it's Sitchin.
Rings a bell.
But he, his problem was he would bring up all these theories and stuff, and he would show somewhat proof, but then he would never go over the top to actually prove the stuff. And that was one of his theories, is the ancient India had nuclear war. And it was in that same fucking time period. So some crazy shit was going on. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it feels like if the technology has existed, and have you heard of the 100th monkey?
Mm-mm.
So it's this concept where, say there's 200 monkeys, 100 on each island, same species, but they don't interact. One of them discovers you can stick a stick down an ant hole and eat a whole bunch of them at once. The monkeys on the other island will just know it. Once it reaches 100 monkeys, it will then jump an ocean. Yeah.
Well,
it gets written into the DNA somehow.
There's probably some truth to that, because, look how bacteria or viruses, for God's sakes, how they just pass along information, and we don't necessarily know how that happens.
Right. They're
And
not
then
living
our
things.
DNA passes along information, and animals. I mean, how are you born and know how to walk? That's in your DNA. So that kind of makes sense. That would, I've never
So
heard that theory.
we couldn't quite walk away from whatever technology we've achieved at one point, even if like all but say 30 of us are wiped out on, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No,
and then
so
had
it's
to
in there somewhere.
repopulate. Yeah, it would reemerge,
No, that's an
which it probably
interesting
has
theory.
over and over again, and we just confuse ourselves. Because the
Yeah.
Chinese don't want people to know about those discs or what they've discovered about them, and only that one person has ever seen them. They've never been photographed.
Yeah.
It's incredible that it comes from a time frame where we weren't supposed to have the technology to carve microscopic hieroglyphs in
You'd think that would
granite.
be difficult now,
Yeah,
even,
unless they used mine bullets
yeah, no, there you go.
like the Atlanteans. Like those big jigsaw boulders they were able to put together,
Yeah.
cut, move, and
There's we'll have to do some stuff on those all around the world. These giant stones that fit together like that.
mm-hmm.
There's Pumapunku. I want to go there. I believe it's, Central America. That has those H. Have you seen those H looking blocks? They look like H's. Have you ever seen these? And they like fit
Probably.
into each other like insanely. Pumapunku. I got onto it because I get obsessed with words.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kept walking around Pumapunku, Pumapunku for like a month.
Kind of want to pull it up.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
Are you there yet?
I
To
am.
the Google? We are. We've done it before.
Let's see if I can spell it right.
So I know you've heard of the Coral Castle
Oh, yeah.
and how he moved it, like he discovered how to. Yeah, that looks familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Pretty cool, huh? This is the one that I was talking about in particular. Oh, it's not going to.
Yeah,
This one
it's
here.
pretty incredible.
Yeah. Pumapunku. I'd like to go there someday.
And how incredible to think that we're like and they did it all with a bunch of like a series of pulleys
Yeah.
and rolling logs.
And not in primitive tools,
Mm-hmm. But like what we used to cut stone, and I kept running into jade discs. Because these people were supposed to be real primitive, like tribal, right?
Yeah, as far as what I've read. Mm-hmm.
Or that's what we would assume. I wonder.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be before they had these tools or machines that could, whether they were hand tools or not, they had spinning devices that could cut. And jade is super hard to cut. I'm not sure if these Dropa discs were jade or granite because I heard both. And I think I got the runaround too from YouTube a little bit.
Sure. Well, I'm sure.
Because it kept showing me those damn jade discs, which were still kind of cool.
Well, what I read, there's supposed to be like 800 of them. So if that's true, all those little hieroglyphs, who knows what kind of information's on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And China is due to be like the largest economy in the world here in the next.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't already, right?
Already?
It's got to be darn close, if not.
You notice they never talk about that.
Well, we kind of handed it to them, didn't we, in the United States?
They went from, and they've lifted like 37% of their population out of poverty. They're just doing really well.
Well, I think they finally figured
and they
out.
completely shifted their type of economy as well.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think they figured out that the way they, and I'm sure it's still happening, the way they oppressed, their people to get stuff done was probably counterintuitive. Now they're like leading the world in clean energy and, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I
I
think,
wonder what they know.
well, I think they figured out that if you don't bet on yourself, then, then what the fuck's, you ain't shit. And I think the U.S. is kind of figuring that in some ways. Now they're trying to work on infrastructure and all that kind of stuff. The stuff that we should have been doing for the last, when was the New Deal? That was Roosevelt, right? Like the 30s and
Yeah.
40s, wasn't it? So
40s.
they just like built high, and they're like, hey, we're gonna build highways everywhere, and they just did it,
Mm-hmm.
And then they just didn't do shit afterwards. I mean, there's clearly projects around, but only when it needed to happen. It wasn't just to do it, to make it better.
Mm.
So you see more and more of that around, but it needs to be at a more global scale. I think, just to move us forward as a civilization. I think we've missed the point for a long time. And hopefully, as these older generations either get it or die off, then it'll become more a unity.
Mm.
But it's hard to say, because then you have, the Middle East and stuff that just can't get over each other, like a fake line of where we live, and they're willing to kill entire families over it.
Perpetually.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you look at history, there's probably some progress there, but
It's almost like the motivation to keep people fighting.
yeah, no, definitely.
And China got kind of like they embraced the guidance they were getting from the star people.
Yeah,
It seems like, and they're doing all right, but they're keeping it away from everybody else,
hmm,
which kind of puts karma back in their lap. It
totally.
will come. It would have come. I feel like that's a big part of all of this stuff is you got to be pure of intent in order to engage. And you're like talking about, oh, were you talking about the Dropa being like them landing here, crash landing here because they were at war somewhere else?
Well, that was my theory. It's not
Yeah.
just them, but
Yeah, I don't think that's possible for them to be able to embark upon the travel
well,
and that sort of thing, the technology, like to maintain that, you have to
it
be.
makes you wonder if they were either at war or their planet was dying or some reason. Because that's what I was saying. These several different civilizations seem to have come here at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's my theory.
Whoa. Okay. So there was
So,
one spot where they were called the Dropa,
mm-hmm.
and another spot where they were called uh
Somewhat a Z, right? The Dropsa, something
no, I
weird.
said the oh shit, I wrote it down somewhere. Tell me I did. Oh, the Dogon and the Dogon and the Dagon were similar and in the same time frame as the Dropa, but elsewhere.
No, I've definitely heard of the Dogon.
And the Dagon, and then but the Dagon was like halfway across a continent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same people, but they're hearing it different or
Yeah.
trying to repeat it differently or what have you. And they say they came from Sirius B, and they weren't at war. They were just out and about, and then wrecked. And then
And just got.
they tried to work together with the people that they met there, like the Dagon or whatever, the Dogon.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't get their shit working. And that's when they started producing these discs, trying to leave their fingerprint. They're like, it's important that this is who we are, and that's why we're here peacefully. And
No. Yeah.
and it's been kept a secret. Like, who would stand to benefit from that being kept a secret?
I think a lot of these secrets are for the stupidest reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's either
I
to
think it's
gain
just
power or to your fear of new knowledge. Just like with any religion.
that's just one of their excuses they use, is that people would be afraid of this new knowledge, when in
Well,
fact they're just trickling it out and selling it to us so that we maintain a race of slaves,
if
as
you
a race
look
of
at
slaves.
I mean, for example, in some of those Middle Eastern areas, Or even look at the South here. People that are insanely, word to word by the Bible. We'll go with that. If you told them something was wrong in there and like, oops, my bad, you think they would react well? So I think there's some truth to that. There's people like, you and I that were like, oh, well, shit, I guess I was wrong. And then you would move on. But if your whole entire life was around it, you're like, holy shit, what the fuck was I doing? Now I'm very angry.
Like I got a PhD in this and it's all void now.
So I could see some truth to that.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, then also, if you believe in the, powers that be, a lot of them probably don't want to, relinquish power. And if you be like, hey, we're doing it wrong, and here's some knowledge that would make it better, I don't think that would go well either with some of those folks.
Right. They've been
unfortunately
assassinations.
I'm all for progress. If I found out I was doing something wrong, I mean, everybody's got an ego though, but sometimes you got to kick that shit out of the way.
Because Tibet, free Tibet and all the political stuff that was happening. I grew up with that stuff, like that slogan kind of beat into my head when I didn't know much about it. I mean, or, what was going on, what it meant to free them. Like,
sure.
How do you, I was young. I'll have to look more into it, but I know it's right there on the border with China, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And they're all, I mean,
I didn't follow it much either. I was so damn young.
But I know a lot, like Tibetan monks and stuff, like they have that way of life, and it takes such serious discipline. And I feel like that's what it takes to be able to participate in this, like, UFO business.
Universal.
Because I feel like they need to use their brains in such a Zen way. They have to have mastered that tool in order to utilize this equipment.
Sure. I often think about those monks. It's got to be pretty calming way to live,
But it was right on the border of Tibet and China where they found these discs.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Up in the mountains, yeah. Interesting.
Talking about it, I feel like
so they probably pass knowledge down, They probably know some stuff that they don't want to share with people either. So I guess that's another angle is, you're part of some sort of long lineage that it's supposed to keep its secrets. You know what I mean? Well, I was thinking about that too. When people talk about, the elite and stuff like that and Illuminati, and do you really think that if there's truly some sort of secret government running everything, do you think they're going to share shit with anyone? I think they're going to be so deep into keeping that secret, we would never even know that they existed. You know what I mean? These people are so in the background that we would not know a goddamn thing. So a lot of these conspiracies and stuff I don't buy into because of that, because it would not benefit these folks to be revealed. You know what I mean? If they're going to really get shit done, no one needs to know they're there. And they're not going to share shit with anybody. Which is a whole nother discipline, though, too.
So I've been digging into this. Like the Illuminati are supposed to be the illuminated. And I studied with Rosicrucians for a time, and it was all about meditation and getting into that place of presence so that you can participate in that creative act. People call it magic or tele whatever. In the metaphysical community, everybody's talking about this big paradigm shift that's happening, and like us moving out of that 2012 moment into where we're at now. It's supposed to be the whole planet itself is ascending, and those sorts of secrets won't be able to be hidden anymore because people are coming into their lights, having kundalini activations. Like with the planet, it's kind of happening all over the place, and people are having to start over and rewrite their lives. whether or not you experience it in like a spiritual sense, or it's just how like the holographic presentation of your life is for you. It translates the same across the board. And the stuff that they teach, being how to get yourself present and maintain presence, and how to go through certain rituals and move your body in a specific way. Yoga has those same, like, it'll open you up and your energy body. And when that happens, like, you can feel it. It's a real experience. It's not just somebody talking mumbo jumbo. Meditation, sitting there in lotus, holding your hands in mudra, like, you have these tools, this tool, a temple of tools to help you travel space and time. So
do you
I
think
think
these people though are more mastered at it and are able to hide stuff better though?
Well, I think the ones who are more mastered at it don't hide it. It's where you can only meet somebody as far as you've met yourself. You can, the natives were talking about how they couldn't see the ships coming over.
Oh yeah. Oops.
Until somebody told them what they were looking at.
Their brain didn't recognize it. I always thought that
Right.
was an interesting theory.
Yeah.
Well, if you go by that theory, then there's probably insane amount of shit all around us. We have no idea that's
right.
there.
The veil. But that veil is getting thinner. I think people are waking up and seeing that they can still, speak to their loved ones who have passed, or ask for advice from, elder trees and shit. Because
wouldn't you hate that if your one uncle that wouldn't shut up, all of a sudden you can hear him again? You're like, all right, already. I know you went to the prom with Dolores. Shut up.
I feel like that's who visits you. Somebody was irritating.
Yeah.
On your ass.
Oh, speaking of which, at the tavern the other night, it was my great-grandmother's. It was the 19th. What is it? Is it still considered an anniversary of a death?
Yeah.
Is it an anniversary? So it was her 19th anniversary of her death. And in the morning, my dad said, and he never, ever talks this kind of stuff. He doesn't buy any of it. But he said he was sitting at the bar with one of our employees having coffee. And then all of a sudden in the back, just all the silverware just started rattling. And then they went back there and there was nothing. But then, like 10 hours later, where it was towards the end of the night, and one of our old menus from World War II just came off the wall and just shattered everywhere.
Oh, no.
Isn't that interesting?
That is amazing. I love that shit.
And we're all just like, fuck. We pissed her off.
Yeah.
She was coming to get us.
About it.
No. But yeah, it was weird because my dad, he won't ever talk about that stuff. So when he brought up that, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, you have to change your mind once you see.
Ever since she's passed, too, I've often smelled her perfume. And I remember it because it was god-awful. I hated it. It was this, like, floral. I hate floral scents. Oh. And, when you get older, she was 99. Well, she was between 99 and 103 when she passed. We found her birth certificate, and she scratched it out. So,
oh, my goodness.
So she was either 99 or 103. We don't know. But you don't wash that much when you're there, so she would just spritz on some floral, and I still smell it, and I don't think that's a scent that's used anymore, so.
Does anybody else?
I don't know if I've never asked anyone else if they've smelled it, but I certainly have.
That would be interesting. Get your brother to be like, come over here and smell this.
Yeah. Either that or I had a stroke. They say you smell weird shit when you have a stroke.
Nah, I think scent it's a powerful language.
Yeah. So that'd be, if she came back to say hi, that'd be pretty cool. I've never actually seen. What's that?
Well, I know. So I've read it, and it fully resonates with. I don't know what I've experienced. Like, when you pass, you go through like the weighing of the heart with Osiris or whomever. Is it Osiris? And then you either leave your signature with the people who, like your energy signature, like a little blueprint with the people who need you in the places where they might look for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that you're always there with them, or either that happens first or you like decontaminate for a while.
Huh.
Before your
Before you move
spirit
on.
guides take you on to do an inventory over your life, and then plan how to live your next one.
Sure. You think that, in your own theory, you think you just go on to another life around here, or you think you go on to higher pastures, or what do you think? Personally.
I think it's like it's a school. You have to go through each grade.
So if you kind of suck, you get stuck wherever.
And suck bad enough, you get banished into oblivion, and like your energy is then put back in the pool somewhere new souls. There's baby fresh souls out there, and super old ones. And in this book, this guy went through a bunch of past life hypnosis, like he did thousands, and took out all the stuff that was similar and wrote about it. And it was talking about one dude, one soul took probably 7,000 years to work through jealousy. 7,000 years, I guess, total. So however many lifetimes.
Yeah. Well, it could be short life or a long life.
And consider you come from an
if
infinite
we're
ocean.
Moving, I wonder why those things are there in the first place if we're meant to not have it. You know what I'm trying to say?
No.
So why are you trying to move through jealousy? Why is there jealousy in the first place?
Because that's what I was going to say. So you go from an infinite ocean of consciousness that is nothing but unconditional love and presence. And you get a little bored. So you create some planets, like a Tom jerks off and out comes the universe.
Yeah.
And like, I want to play with those planets, you know, and just the moment of thinking it was created, you know, as they say, in all civilizations, like ancient civilizations. That's kind of the consensus. In 7 days, let there be light. And then there was light, like whatever.
So you're saying
we create
sort of like the simulation theory. So this guy created us and he wants us to have certain attributes. And then
we're
the
like
ones
little
who
apertures.
And then ones who can move through those are the ones who go to the next level, essentially.
It's a game.
Yeah.
It's a role play game.
It makes you wonder where you sit in the game. Are we fucking pieces of shit, or are we doing all right, or are we fucking lame? Makes you wonder.
How do you feel?
Just depends on the day. Sometimes I'm pretty badass. Some days I'm like, ooh, boy, hee hee. This is no bueno.
Yeah, in those days you can't get off the couch.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all, I feel like it's all about learning how to love yourself enough to like gain the discipline to be mindful and present always in the age of information and distraction.
Sure.
And flashing lights and, you know, smartphones. Everything is working against us in that.
Absolutely.
So there must be none of that nonsense in these alien civilizations. Like I believe that. I feel like there's no other way it would be possible. Yeah, unless they had like just elite few who came out here and played and like wrecked their sweet whip. And we're like, shit, we're gonna die out here. We need to leave something.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you would have to have, well, yeah, I guess you would have to have a lot less distraction to move forward as a civilization, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And you couldn't be fighting about shit. Couldn't be drunk all the time.
Well, I think we could be drunk still, thanks.
I'm just saying. And I feel like alcohol is the quickest way to sever your own spiritual connection.
Yeah.
I mean, and it sucks to have to call it spiritual because I feel like it's a whole lot of science backs it up, like quantum theory and mechanics.
No,
like
definitely.
It's all a fucking hologram.
Well, if they didn't make booze, Or, I mean, if we weren't supposed to drink booze, then what the hell they make it for? God damn it. I've been doing a lot better. I took 2 weeks off. I drank once. I haven't drank in a week since then. Or it's been several days. So I've been trying to be a good boy.
I feel like since you have to count, like that alerts to it's still kind of a problem, even when you're not drinking.
I'm not going to lie. It's always been a problem. But I just try to keep off of it for a while at a time.
Microdosing mushrooms got me to stop.
Yeah. No, you keep telling me about that. I need to do it.
Spontaneously.
I don't know why the hell I can't just... in my past, I was able to just turn it off. It's been tougher this time with the booze. I guess it's just everything around me.
There's a lot to cope with.
Yeah. Still haven't heard back from any of those shrinks. Not one.
No shit.
Yeah. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
So, I guess Daddy's not supposed to have therapy right now. Son of a bitch and bastard.
So many people. I mean, that is your therapy, isn't it? Sofa Bab Show.
It helps. That's actually really helpful when my brother and I get together and just bitch about our lives. And Sofa Bab's certainly son of a bitch and bastard. As a nice release. This is a nice release for me, too. I like to talk.
Same.
And I like having a different avenue to talk about as well.
Yeah, other than so
just
bad.
bullshitting.
I feel like there's no holds barred. Is that the saying?
What's that?
No holds barred.
Barred. I don't know. Don't ask me. I fuck up.
You can use all the holds.
I'm the worst with every expression there's ever been.
Did I say it right?
I couldn't tell you if you didn't, because I would have been wrong.
I feel that way whenever I say some kind of expression.
Like from shit. What's that expression? Off the bat or whatever. Like That
doesn't even sound familiar. Right off the bat.
Yeah, right off the bat. I said
right.
I said back until I was like 30. Right off the back.
Right off the back.
Yeah.
Like nip it in the butt.
Yeah.
No.
Then I said butt for sure. I guarantee.
Bud.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many I got wrong forever, and I still get them wrong. And then when I find out, I have horrible shame for a long time. I'm like, oh boy, I'm a dummy.
I have to go through all the times you said it.
Everything I've said wrong a million times. And it just shows you how people are just like, oh, whatever.
And you spend so much time recording yourself while you're speaking.
Oh, yeah. Thousands of hours. So who knows the shit I fucked up along the way.
Yeah. Like you could probably inventory it, though.
Oh, probably.
There's a couple of Sofa Bab episodes. I'm like, shit, that's still up somewhere.
It's still up on YouTube somewhere. Oh, yeah.
Yep. You're like, we don't delete nothing.
No, I don't see the point. If I ever had someone being like, hey, you can't have this job, then I'd probably just hit private on the channel or something. That'd be pretty easy. I don't think anyone's downloading it anywhere. But you never know. Not the video aspect. And I don't plan on running for office. If I did, oh boy, that'd be
crazy.
Yeah. They'd cancel me real quick.
And say, I don't know if I'd vote for you. We can hang out and all.
No, I got some good ideas. Get rid of all the street lights and just put stop signs.
You made me go down like a short Tesla wormhole, though, because he was like, we don't even need street lights. We can illuminate the stratosphere.
Yeah, if all, well, that goes back to communicating, If all the cars were communicating with each other, then we wouldn't need any of that shit. Traffic would be a bygone of the past. See, that's probably not even a real expression I just made up there. A bygone of the past. That seems right in my head, but it's clearly not right. But no,
I don't know. It sounded all right.
Yeah, see, I'm confident. See, that's the thing. I just pass it along.
To it.
Yeah, maybe I just fool everybody when I say the wrong shit.
Just say it like you mean it. And
I would embrace that greatly if my car talked to another car and was like, hey, we're going to go this speed. Hey, yeah, we don't need stop signs. Hey, we don't need traffic lights. It's our turn to go. I would love it. People hate the idea.
I had the privilege of driving a Tesla not too long ago. And they do that.
They do, but only with each other, unfortunately.
With all cars around them.
Well, I mean, they use cameras and sensors, but they're not actually.
And they'll steer away from you if you veer towards them. They'll stop if you don't start stopping for a stop sign.
Oh yeah,
it's incredible.
It's really trippy.
It's weird to sit there while this car is just keeping me safe.
Yeah,
hauling ass when you
absolutely
step on it.
Amazing. I love it. That's my next car is a Tesla. It's gonna take me a while, but I want one pretty bad.
Would they make a Charger all electric? People are up in arms. Just drive it though.
Yeah, shut up. Yeah, just drive the fucking thing. They just made a Hummer all electric, which is totally counterintuitive to Hummer owner. They're all fucking every Hummer owner I know is either in a rap video or a fucking yokel with its lifted truck shooting guns out the window. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They certainly don't care about emissions and but it's supposed to be pretty cool. Like each wheel is supposed to move independently, which is really cool.
They have cooled seats too.
Yeah.
Heated and cooled.
I have cooled seats.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, my Kulo is nice and cool all year long.
Mine sticks to the leather because it's shorts season.
That's true. Well, I wear old man shorts, so
they go down to your knees.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you wear socks all the way up?
I'm not there yet, but I'm not opposed to be there.
Are they folded down or do you get the anklets?
Anklets. I like a little sock. A little sock.
Me too. Glad we went through this.
Hey, that's how it goes.
Okay.
I've driven a Tesla though too. It was one of the earlier models, and it's just so cool.
Yeah, it feels dangerous.
It really does. And why wouldn't that goes back to progress? I mean, they're clearly better than internal combusted cars. They're clearly better. Mm-hmm. In every way.
In all the ways.
And they even last. I mean, like the range is even farther in a lot of them now.
Going and going. And what was it, Norway or something? They just surpassed electric car sales. It was Norway, but the whole country is now buying just electric.
Well, I don't see why not.
Fossil fuels. Yep.
And the battery technology has gotten to the point where they charge so fast. And all the new Tesla models are getting 400 miles plus range. Most gas combustion cars don't get 400 miles to a tank. Mm-hmm. A lot of them don't. Mm-hmm. Mine does because I got a hybrid. I get almost 600 miles on a tank.
That's amazing.
Which is really cool.
You got a Lexus, huh?
Yeah.
Which one?
An ES 300 hybrid. Mm-hmm. And that's my second hybrid. I had a previous same thing. I just fell in love. They're just superior to gas engines. So I don't give a fuck who I'm pissing off. You're in the Stone Ages, you sons of bitches. Although there's a lot of things you can do with combustion engines that could make it way more efficient. We're talking about cars now. They've actually, there's a company called Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg. I always mispronounce it. But they have the fastest production car in the world right now. And it's pushing 300 miles an hour, which is fucking nuts. You have to have special tires, special rims. They can't weigh. It's called 1-to-1, which means it's the power to weight ratio is it's 1-to-1, which is completely sought after on any car ever. And in an engine, they have the lifters inside the actual engine are moved with explosions, and they figured out a way to get rid of half the parts in there. And they won't release it with any other company yet. They're only using it their own technology. And they can make a car that goes 300 miles an hour get something like 45 miles a gallon, which is fucking insane. Because,
wow.
yeah, like my wife's new Audi, it gets something like 15 miles a gallon, you know? And that's a brand new car with like insane technology in it. Fuck that shit.
That ain't right.
No.
Built-in obsolescence.
Yeah, no kidding.
What's that car company called though?
Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg. Yeah,
Send me a link.
They're fucking incredible. Them and Bugatti go back and forth with the land or the production car speed record. The Koenigsegg has the record for the highest ticket ever. There was in Texas, the guy was going like 275 miles an hour. I think they just shot him. They're like, we're not even going to give you a ticket or put you in jail. You're dead.
They're like, you're probably going to want to frame this.
Yeah. They're like, we're taking everything from you.
Can I have your autograph too? Whoa. Yeah. And and look at the technology coming out of China to bring it back there.
Yeah, they're pushing envelopes left and right.
Robotics and AI and who knows what else. That's just the stuff they're leaking out because they've been super secret about so much.
I've been afraid to do any AI stuff, even like Alexa or whatever. Because I know I'll just
so steeped.
What's that?
Your phone is steeped with it.
Oh, I know. One, I'm such an old insane person. I turn like everything off, and it still leaks through. You know. I don't go on the cloud, nothing, because I don't need my late night drunk dick pics going up anywhere. I don't need Alexa talking to me. I don't need no Google, nothing. I don't have any voice stuff in my phone. But I'm like the rarity. And it's still, I mean, we could be talking about something, or if I type something in my phone, then I get ads just like anyone else, you know. But I know I'd be one of those people that with the AI, I would just rely on it immediately. And I think that's why I fight it so much. I would just be like talking to this robot all the time as my friend or whatever, you know? I know I would.
Well, I think that our little robot friends, our cell phones, like they watch us, they see, or they're like where your eyes are pointed. You have to use your face to open your phone now.
Yeah, I won't turn any of that on. None of it. Nothing.
What kind of phone do you have?
It's a newer Samsung. But I either put in my code but I have gone to fingerprints, which sounds old now.
You're like, I acquiesced to the fingerprint.
Yeah. Why isn't the fingerprint thing like on every computer? I'm sick and tired of fucking coming up with passwords. I use like some of those password engines now, which are pretty cool. But why can't you just have that at your computer? You put your finger on it. I mean, I shouldn't say none of us, but most of us don't have anything on our computer that's that sensitive that someone's going to come cut our finger off and open our computer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're some higher level CIA agent or some shit, then I could see not having one, but
I remember people being so up in arms about that too. Like, they're going to have your fingerprints on file. It's like, well, you got a driver's license.
Yeah, that's pretty much everywhere. I volunteered my fingerprints recently because I'm looking into the weed careers. I went and put my hand on something. Now it's in a computer somewhere on purpose. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit. Whatever.
It used to be 30 years ago or so, you didn't even need to have a social security number.
Yeah. I mean, then we had them clearly, but they weren't used.
You need one.
Yeah.
You need one. And you're assigned at birth. It wasn't like that, though. And it's so recent that wasn't a thing.
When was social security numbers put in? They had to have been a long time ago, though, right? You think?
Yeah, but I mean, if you, I don't know how it went. If you paid into it, then you could, if you signed up for it.
I mean,
get yourself some credit because you have your social security number. If you didn't want to get any credit, then you didn't have to.
I'm kind of curious now. When When were
My friend
social security numbers
started?
Yeah. You have a friend that what?
She was telling me about how I don't know if it was when she had little kids. She's in her 60s. I love her dearly, my Jeannie. And
it said 1936, by the way.
That's when it started.
Yeah.
But look at when it became mandatory. Ask that.
What, having a one?
Dove off of Google. Yeah, get back in there. When was it mandatory?
Oops. So what about your friend? She's in her 60s.
Yeah, so I think maybe it was when she had kids in school, but she had a teacher that offered to take them. I think it was like a day that they were exploring government buildings as a field trip or something. And I remember getting fingerprinted in preschool.
Oh, really? I don't even remember that.
My dad was a lawyer and he was pissed about it. My mom was too. I remember her more being pissed, but.
It says same time, November 6, 1936, it became mandatory.
Where does it say that? I mean, I know that's what you searched.
Yeah, I put, when did Social Security numbers become mandatory? And it says November 6, 1936.
Any U.S. I wish I could read that better. Does everyone have to have a Social Security number?
In the U.S.?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who receives, what is that?
What's that?
I wish I could.
It says, does everyone have to have a Social Security number? According to the U.S. Internal Revenue Service, any U.S. citizen over age of 18 who receives income must have a Social Security number.
Who receives income?
Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. And you can't drop it. The last statement, you can't drop out. They got us.
Huh. I'll have to ask her about that. It's interesting.
Yeah, you didn't finish the story. I interrupted you twice. What was it?
She just, like this teacher offered to take them all to get their Social Security numbers. So it was happening, during school hours at a government building, and that was their field trip.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to ask her more about that.
That's kind of interesting.
Why did we start talking about that?
Why do we talk about anything? I don't know.
Yeah. Bugattis, huh?
Bugatti, that's another cool car. But both of those cars are well into the millions of dollars. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys want to get us some Bugattis, you send us some money.
Do we have a Venmo?
No, we need to get one for our Bugatti fund. Don't you think?
Yep.
I wouldn't drive a Bugatti. I would definitely be a electric car boy.
You ever see that supercar Blondie?
It's called Blondie?
No, her like tag handle or whatever.
Oh, maybe I have. Is she like on TikTok and stuff?
Probably. I don't have TikTok.
You're missing out.
I enjoy TikTok videos. They get sent to me often, but I don't. I've logged on a couple times. Somebody said I should do tarot on it, and I was like, it's overwhelming.
I don't know how you'd be able to do that on there. Isn't it snippets? That'd be kind of tough. So I don't know how you'd be able to. You'd be like, hey, look at this card. Hey, look at that card. All right, see you next time.
With typing on top, like here's your mini reading.
Yeah, that sounds pretty tough.
Yeah.
Somebody probably does it. Some weirdo.
Yeah, there's lots.
Well, speaking of which. Yeah. Make sure you check out Green Heart Tarot 333 on the Instagram and my other project, sofabab.com. Thank you for joining us this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. I know I did. I enjoy our little talks wherever they go. Wherever they go. Make sure you join us next week. If you want to go to our website, it's aswcast.com. Somebody send us an email, goddammit. We're waiting for some sort of contact. Well, we've gotten some messages here and there. And we'll take them. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.